Welcome to the channel. Behind me is my very cheap, almost basket case, 91 Corvette that I bought off Craigslist at a ridiculously low price for a running, driving vehicle. And today we're going to be installing some muffler eliminator kits to make this thing sound a little bit better. If it's your first time watching the channel, then please subscribe, hit a like if this helps out, and enjoy the video. So here's the kit I chose. This is an Allen's, I believe Allen's exhaust, which is, you can find them on eBay, and they have really good reviews. Now, you have two choices when you're doing these. I'm sorry, the 91 is kind of a between your car, but generally you have two choices. You have this choice, which is the cheapest possible choice. This is like $185, I think, shipped. Or you can also choose a chambered exhaust, which is very similar to this, only there's another pipe on top that's crimped and it creates a chamber. I did actually mean to buy the chambered exhaust, but in my haste I clicked the wrong button and this one arrived and I was like, wait a minute, I thought I bought the chambered exhaust, but when I went back and looked, I didn't. It was my mistake. I was just too quick on the button. And just remember, if you really want to change the tone and the lope of the exhaust, at that point you're going to really want to look at headers and a cam. Your cam changes the lope of the exhaust by changing the length of the exhaust, and the intake valves are open, and that's going to change really how the exhaust note sounds when it comes out. Obviously headers and things like that will flow better, different cats, and then that different flow coming through an actual muffler will change a lot of the characteristics of your exhaust too. This kit is simply to get rid of this ugliness. See how ugly that is, and to just make it louder, really. Just make it louder and a little more aggressive. That's all this kit will do. So I might pick up a couple of horsepower, but we're not talking about anything major. Obviously, if I free flow the exhaust a little bit more, which realistically the issue with this exhaust is going to be the pre-cats, and the regular cat is probably, and the manifolds are probably much more restrictive than the actual mufflers that are on here, but every little bit helps. So if you look under here, you can kind of see how this kit will go on. There's this U-bolt right here. This U-bolt will come off. That'll disconnect the muffler from the exhaust. There's a hanger right here between the tips. This will have to come off right here, and then this whole thing should just drop straight down, and this whole big piece should just come off. A lot of people on these cars remove this spare tire for different reasons. I may remove this. It will be more about the cleanliness looking back onto the back end of the car, because it does clean it up to where it's just the back of the car and then the exhaust, in which case I won't have exhaust pipes hanging down, or I'll have exhaust pipes, I won't have mufflers. Some people say, oh, weight reduction, this, whatever, man. This car's not that fast. I'm not worried about an extra 40 pounds of tire back here, but I may get it out of the way. So as you can see, I decided to remove the spare tire. It was in the way, it was ugly, and I decided it was going to be a better solution for me to remove it. Now, before anyone gets upset, now I have heard that the rear tire is part of the whole engineering design in a rear impact situation, to absorb some of the force of a rear impact. So I do understand that. I've read a lot about it. The last few years of the C4 did come with an elimination kit as an option where you could eliminate the rear tire, and it did have a brace that went from this cross member to the rear cross member. It was an aluminum brace that went between the two. However, I'm not concerned with it, guys. I'm confident in the car's engineering. I'm going to leave it out for right now. FYI, to take the spare tire loose, there's just 4 small bolts, 13 millimeter I believe, that hold these 2 brackets to the cross member. Just unscrew them out of the cross member and the whole thing comes down. As you can see, my semi-donut spare was flat anyway, very dry rotted. Got to be the original that came with the car, and it is a useless piece, because if I'd have gotten into an accident or a flat tire, I wouldn't be able to use it anyway. It is a 17-inch donut though. Alright, splitting the old exhaust pipe worked great. You can see, say the exhaust muffler pipe. The muffler pipe, that worked great. I was able to pry it loose. It was tough to come out because you can see a ridge here where they tightened down the U-bolt so tight. This muffler was going bad anyway. So I can almost punch a hole in it. So just an FYI, taking these mufflers off wasn't hard. As I said in the video, I had to take these band clamps off. These were U-bolts. I had to take these U-bolts off. I had to take the hanger off the top side between the tips. Because this exhaust has probably been on there for close to 30 years, I did have to split the exhaust with a angle grinder and then just pry it loose with a screwdriver because of these ridges and because of how corroded on it was. Your mileage may vary on yours. Good luck with that. It did take me a little bit to get both sides down. And this son of a bitch is heavy. So I think between the rear tire, spare tire, and these mufflers, I'm going to eliminate a lot of weight out of the back end. I don't know if that's a good thing, probably not, but I may have to lower the car a little bit. But I have run into a problem. So as you can see, everything bolts up fine, or everything lines up fine. Everything goes on fairly easily. The problem I have is that looking on the, and of course it's going to look great, I think, but looking on the website, their kits, this is Allen Stainless, their kits come with a little Z-bracket welded onto the tips so that it can go up in here and be held on. For some reason mine didn't come with those. I looked back on the auction and it didn't show it in the auction, but I don't know why it wouldn't, because all of the other ones do. Maybe that's my fault, I don't know. But now I have no way to hang the exhaust. So I'm not sure what the plan was for this thing, or what, but now I've got to figure this out. Now I've got a welder, I can always weld this to here, but I don't think that's going to be as sturdy as it needs to be. But it may be my only choice, because nothing else came with the kit except for the two pipes, the tips, these band clamps, and two new U-bolts. So kind of a bummer, but I am pretty pumped at how it's going to look. Don't know what it's going to sound like yet. As soon as I get the other muffler cut off, we'll give her a gander on the sound. Well, they're done, and let's look at a few things. As you get under here, you can see how to make this bracket. Again, this kit I thought came with Z brackets to mount the tips. Already welded on. They didn't come with extra Z brackets either, so I used the stock brackets and welded those onto the tips. You can see the installation is very straightforward. I will say this is not a quick hour-and-a-half one-person job. I've been doing this by myself, and it's been a challenge because lining these tips up flat and straight, there is some movement, and it's just very difficult. I say that to say this tip over here is a little bit crooked, and I'm just not going to be able to get it straight without a little bit of help. So I'm mounted it for now where it needs to be, but I definitely need to remount it. I may have to re-weld that bracket a little bit. It might be a little bit crooked. Understand these kits are designed for the best case scenario for your Corvette. I don't know how this exhaust has moved over the past 28 years. I don't know if it's a half-inch low or a half-inch high or half-inch to one side or the other, and all that will matter when you're talking about your tips when these are mounted so simply. So I still got a little bit of work to do aligning them, but they are on. Realistically, getting the old exhaust off took longer than anything. Let's see what they sound like. With all the weight removed from removing the rear spare tire and the two very heavy, a lot heavier than I thought they would be, mufflers, you can see this gap has grown, in my opinion, substantially. I can put my fist in there. That is definitely a concern. I'm going to have to get under there and probably lower it with the lowering bolts. But for right now, I'm just going to drive it a little bit. So first impressions, guys, this thing sounds amazing just on startup and revving it up. Even though these things tap out at about 4,500 RPMs, it still sounds really good getting on up there in the rev range. So let's go for a drive, see what happens. Also, there's a noticeably larger gap in the rear wheel well where I've taken all that weight off from behind the rear wheels. I didn't think it would make that big a difference, but it is clear. God, this car is disgusting. It needs to be washed. washed, kept in the garage. Normal driving just sounds like normal driving, even with the top down. Audibly deeper when you give it the slice a little bit of gas. That could get annoying after a while, but again, this is a weekend car if I ever get it sorted. It is not too loud at all. I mean, I'm only going 40 miles an hour, so tough to tell, but let's see if I'll put you over here by the window, if the wind noise will drown it out or what. All right, this is from a start. That's exactly how this car should sound. At cruising speeds, I'm going 50. RPMs are 1500. I can't even hear it, which is good. Now at 2,000 RPMs and 60 miles an hour, there might be some drone, but we're not getting it out on the highway today, so we'll have to cross that bridge when it comes. I had a 70s Corvette that had just exhaust on it with no cats. Straight from the manifolds, and it was essentially the same motor. It was L-82, I think it was L-82, and it had a cam in it, and it sounded a lot deeper. I had more of a lope, but you know, that's kind of the benchmark of the car of how I want it to sound. This is pretty close. It just doesn't have the lope because I don't have a cam in it. Everything you've heard is me not getting above 50 miles an hour yet. I'm going 40 right now. If you can hear anything over the wind noise, I'm not sure. It's really not that loud, but it is deep. And it does give the car a growl that it did not have stock. Burn it up. So there you have it. That's the Allen's stainless exhaust eliminators, muffler eliminators. The kit's fine. For the money, it's great. There's definitely a little bit of do-it-yourself that's needed. It's not a 1-2 hour job for one person, but man, the car sounds fantastic. I could not be happier with the sound of the car. A few things have popped up since I've been working on the car. My temp sensor apparently doesn't work, but the temp sensor on the HVAC controls is working, so I'll have to figure out what that's all about. I was able to solve my dash lights dimming whenever I turn on the lights by taking the switch apart and monkeying with it. I didn't really fix anything. I just kind of monkeyed with it and put it back together, and apparently there was a contact probably broke that's now making contact. Now my focus is going to be the stereo, which I know is not mechanical, but it is annoying. And probably, I don't want to, but I might have to dive into the steering column and figure out where it's loose at, whether it's the bushing for the tilt or whether it's actually one of the two bolts that's holding it to the firewall. I don't know which it'll be, but either way, I'm dreading that. But guys, thanks for watching. If you haven't been to my channel before, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the like button if this video is helpful. I see a lot of videos where people show you the before and after of the exhaust, but never really walk you through it, never really give you too much more than just a couple of quick sound clips. So hopefully this helped you make up your mind if you're thinking about doing a muffler eliminator. I'm extremely happy with them. I'll let you know if it does draw out highway speed 60-70 miles an hour, but at that point, with my height, the top's going to be off, the wind noise is going to drown that out. Guys, thanks for watching. Have a great day.